Welcome to YouTube channel Knowledge Base. This is Suresh Venkat, connecting world with innovative experts. Today our guest of honor is Mr. Sharad Gaidane, graduated in electronics and telecom engineering, has over 30 years of corporate experience managing software business, and he has worked in global software companies like TCS, Satyam USA, Infomex, L&T Infotech, and Nest Technologies. He has also worked in international locations like USA and Middle East. For past 10 years, he has been learning and practicing yoga. And he has also been sharing his experience and knowledge on yoga with corporate world as well as college students. Today he is going to talk on yoga. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Suresh.
Yes, sir.
First of all, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to get connected with the rest of the world.
It's my pleasure, sir. It's my pleasure, sir.
Yoga, thank you. So yoga, everyone is talking about yoga these days, right from 5 years old to the 100 years, right from Prime Minister of India to the Prime Minister of UK and US and whatnot. So yoga is everywhere. And why not? There is so much to talk about yoga, and everyone talks about it. I would like to talk more on my experiences with the yoga as to why I got into the yoga and what I did to get into the yoga and how yoga benefited me and will benefit people like me. So like any other person, any other common man in Lakshman's language, a common man of Lakshman. When I was young, I did my engineering, as I told you, and then I decided to come to the capital of India, which is the financial capital of India, Mumbai. Like all other people were coming to Mumbai then for the job, and I was not an exception. I got into the job here. First job was a government job with the electricity board, Maharashtra State Electricity Board. And then, like any other young man, I had ambitions. I wanted to do well in the job. I wanted to touch the sky. I wanted to make money. I wanted to get titles, like, any other person, because that's how we humans are. We want to grow. So, I thought, now that I'm in Mumbai and I'm with government job, why shouldn't I do something different, And I won't say very good at studies, but good at studies. And also my mind used to be quite logical in the sense that, what is required in future. So I thought while doing the job in MSAB, if I do my management, it will help me to grow faster because everyone wanted to grow faster. So I joined Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies, which is one of the premium institutes of management studies in India after IIMs. And while doing that, I thought, why should I spend my time in the government job when I'm doing my master's in marketing management? I should get into the private sector. And that's how my first attempt, I got into the private sector and got into a company which was selling computer time. That time there used to be a huge computers, like today, mobile size computer used to be equivalent to a building size computer then. And then, I started selling computer time for a company called Hinditron. They were the representative of Digital Equipment Corporation, which was the American company. And that is how I got into the private sector and into the computer industry. And I started learning more about computers and software, and I was trained initially by the company. Started selling into the government because my background was government, and I did pretty well there. And then, like I said, the ambition never stops. So one after another. Now that I was in private sector, I thought, why should I work for a small company and the company which is not known? I want to get into a bigger company which is known. So what about Tata's? And then, I got into TCS. And I started selling Oracle products. You must have heard about Oracle products. I think
Yes,
you
sir.
are Oracle, you are trained Oracle DB, I guess.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I am the first, by the way, I'm the first Oracle salesperson in India.
Okay, sir.
I can proudly say that because TCS was the exclusive distributor of Oracle then. Oracle Corporation, India was not present in India. And that is how I got into a bigger company, you know, Tata Group. So my mind got further stronger, my exposure got further stronger, my ambition got further bigger. And I worked there for a few years. And then I started thinking, hey, what are you doing here? What's your next step? You cannot stop here. That's not the end. So what next? So I said, well, I'm in the biggest group in India. What next? So my mind said, why not? What about outside India? Everyone is going, and that time people were just started going outside India. And I said, well, that's a good idea. Why not? And I tried, and that is how I got into the Gulf. I went to Bahrain. I joined the Informix distributor there. I managed their business for a few years in the Gulf, moved around into the Gulf. Like a salesman, you'll have to visit the customers, visit the countries, visit the, territories. So manage the teams, manage the target. And I was doing that. And while I was doing that, that time I didn't know, but now I know that I was ignoring my health at the cost of getting more titles and more money. And of course, I was getting more money and more titles, but slowly and unknowingly, I was, compromising on my health, working day and night, on the calls over the night, over the weekend, getting up early in the mornings, sleeping late in the night, eating food outside. Every wrong thing that you can talk about the health, I was doing that. And no exercises. So then after spending few years in Gulf, I thought, let me take a more leap. So I came back to India actually, and from India I went to US. And I went to US. I was based in Detroit, which is Michigan state. And I was working for a company called HTC, which was a small company, but that was fair enough to get into the US because getting into US was a big challenge. So I was based in Minnesota. After that, I was selling the projects of converting Informix projects into the Oracle products, because that time Informix was a very strong database on Unix, but Oracle was gaining a ground and getting into all the entire corporate world, So that's the job I was doing, selling the conversion projects. And while doing that, again, I thought, now that I'm here for a couple of years, let me get into a bigger company, which will give me more comfort, more salary, better title. And then I moved to Michigan with Satyam, and I was a regional director for the South Asia region of US, based in Detroit. And that was the new office of Satyam in US, which I started. But then my family was moved to India, and then I decided that, I should join my family in India instead of continuing with Satyam, because, you always want to be in the family. So I came back to India after 6 months working with Satyam, and then I think after that, where I was, so many companies, but I think I joined which company? Some company I joined, maybe L&T Infotech. And then, I met another friend of mine who was at TCS and who was a big investor in many IT companies. And he said, hey, Sharad, what are you doing here? Why don't you go back to US? You have a US experience. You should not be here. And I said, well, boss, I was in a place which was like always buried in the ice. Minneapolis, where the ice, if you go into the winter in Minneapolis, you get 2 feet ice in one shot, and you are always buried in the ice. So that's what my family was not liking, and I too. So he said, what about California? You go to California. That's the best place and good climate. And I said, why not? That's how I landed in California with Nest Technologies. And then I worked there for a few years, and then, like I always said that I wanted to grow, get more titles. And so therefore I requested Nest Technology Management that I should move to India because I have a India business experience. And then, I should do a business in India. And they said, why not? Yes. And then that is how I landed in India in 2005. And again, working for Nest, but, setting up their India business. That's what I did for next 5 years. But then while doing all these things, while trying to get more money, more titles, more comfort, more luxury life, I was continuously ignoring my health, and I was about 35, 40 years of age. And that's when, the diseases will get into you, because especially if you are not taken care of your food, your timing, your health, your exercises, etc. So I started, getting diseases like blood pressure, for example. That's the first disease that you most likely will take if your lifestyle is not very active, and you are under stress most of the time because of the work. And that's what happens in India. In millions, I mean, in India, the percentage of people who are diabetics and blood pressure is the highest, because they are all stress-related diseases. By the way, almost all the diseases are stress-related diseases, including a small stomach ache you get or a headache you get. The only disease which is not stress-based is if you have broken something of your body. That's when you need surgery. Otherwise, all diseases are mind-based or thinking-based. So then, after NES, my obvious next step was to start my own company, which I did, because I wanted to again go bigger and bigger. And I had a huge experience of India market, Gulf market, US market. So I started my own company with a US partner, worked for 1 year. But while doing that, I was not able to manage the time, and was too much of stress, because when you start a company, you know how challenging it is. You are everything. You are right from your office boy to the CEO, you do everything. And that hit my health. And also the time was a challenge, because I was doing so many things, and the 24 remains hours in a day remains same. It doesn't change. So you have to manage everything in 24 hours. So then my wife advised, she was already into the yoga, and she said, best thing for you is to spend half an hour with yoga. You don't need anything. You can do it you don't need to go outside into the gym, or don't run on the road. You can sit in the corner of the house, and you don't need special clothes, special equipments. Just get trained from a proper yoga teacher, and you start practicing, and that's it. And you are healthy. So that was my entry point into the yoga. And in my life, whatever I took very seriously. And being a technical person, you are more sensitive to this kind of challenges when you want to adopt something which you are not aware of. Yoga was new to me, and I was not sure how it is, though I was in sports in schools and colleges, and was pretty good and represented school colleges in badminton and cricket. And but then I said, well, I think that makes sense, because I had a challenge with my time. The time was limited. So I got into yoga, got trained. There is a very old institute in near my house, just a couple of kilometers away from my house, called Ambika Yog Kutir, very holy institute. They has been running these institutes for last 65 years, started by a CID inspector who started it as a seva, or a service to the public, and then they don't charge anything. So that is how I landed there, and they have very genuine teachers. The teachers are all those who had come to that institute, people like me who had come with a disease, and then were trained on yoga practice and got out of the disease, and then they were giving service. So same thing happened with me. I mean, they have.
So how many levels you learned, sir? In yoga, how many levels you learned, sir?
Levels meaning?
Like level 1, level 2, level 3. You have different levels in yoga, right, sir?
Oh, the levels are now created by the Ayush, Ayush ministry. Whereas in Orthodox, real yoga, the old yoga which is defined in scriptures and which is a genuine yoga, real yoga, there are no levels, and there cannot be levels. It depends on your body, your power, your willpower, your practice, your regularity, your consistency, but I mean, as far as I am concerned, this institute had a 3 months course, they call Traimasik, means 3 months. Trai means 3 months course, which was packaged by Nikam Guruji, is the person who had started this institute, and he practiced himself, and he got a lot of benefits out of that. And then he packaged that whole thing, which is a set of asanas and breathing exercises, And then he packaged it for 3 months and gave it to, actually it was for 6 months, then it had reduced to 3 months, now it is reduced to 1 month. Now people want to reduce it further to 7 days because people say we don't have time. You know, what a lie. People don't have time for themselves, you know, and that is really sad. I mean, you'll have to have at least 1 or 2 hours out of 24 hours for you, because if you are healthy, you are good, everything is good. If you are unhealthy, you are sick, everything is bad. There is no point making any money, titles, and that's what I realize, you know. So, so that is how I finished my 3 months course. Then they have, of course, advanced courses. They have, this is the only institute in India which has got a pranayam course for 2 years. Now, pranayam is very challenging to practice, in the sense that your body has to get ready for pranayama. Now there are, so pranayam, many people by definition say that just a breathing exercise, you know, but the real pranayam is the breathing exercise with holding your breath, you know. So there are 3 types of holdings also. You take the breath inside and hold it for a few minutes, few seconds, or you exhale and then hold the breath for a few minutes. That is exhalation after gathering. So they call it kumbhaka in yoga language. So it's antar kumbhaka, bahya kumbhaka, you know, these are the 2 kumbhakas that you practice. And practicing that with breathing exercise need a proper training. I mean, that's very risky. The normal breathing exercise, you know, breathing from one nostril, leaving from another, which is called anulom vilom, or breathing from right nostril, leaving from left, is anybody can do it, you know. The risk is when you hold the breath, you know, that's when the risk is. So in yoga, basically, because you asked a very good question, which was that levels. In Patanjali Yoga, which is orthodox yoga, which has come from Vedas, they have defined as 8-limb yoga. There are 8 limbs, they call 8 limbs. You can call them not levels really, but the steps. Okay. Because everything you do should be in steps. You go from one step to another, to another, to another, and you reach to the highest step. So there are 8 steps in orthodox yoga, starting from yama, niyama, and then asana, then pranayama, then pratyahar. These are the 5 bahiranga sadhana, means external sadhana, anybody can do it. Now, out of these 5, first 4, you do it there. So you are trained on that. Yama, niyama, and out of this 4, the first one, I mean, this is very interesting. The first one is the most important one. Like when you climb the building, you go from first stair. When you start climbing the staircase, you take the first step, right? And then you go into the second step and a third step. Like that in yoga, you'll have to take the first step, which is yama. Yama is the set of niyamas for yourself. You know, it's a cleansing. You clean yourself. So getting the best results of yoga, you need to purify your body and mind. And how do you do that? These are the 8 steps which are given for you. And out of that, the last 3 are the antaranga sadhana, which is, you know, dhyana, dharana, samadhi. Now, reaching to those stages is the most challenging. Very, very few, means you can count on fingers, they can reach to those stages. But up to pratyahar, many actually can reach if you practice yoga seriously with patience regularly. You know? And yoga basically is designed by the old rishis and sadhus, because that time there were no doctors, no hospitals, no technology. So how do you take care of your health when there is nothing available? In those days, 5,000 years back, 10,000 years back, they were observing animals. And they were thinking, the rishis were very clever in the sense they were living in the jungles and were observing the animals and birds, and they were wondering how these guys can always be, you know, healthy. Have you seen any animal or any bird sick? No. The answer is no. You don't see them sick. They are always healthy because they take care of their food, they eat proper food in time, in proper quantity, and properly. At the same time, they drink proper water, they breathe properly, they take proper rest, and that's why they are healthy. And that's what the Rishi realized. Actually, Suresh, If you ask me on my experience of last 10 years, though I went to this Kutir and Shivananda Ashram and Bihar School of Yoga in Munger and all that and learned yoga, and internet gives you a lot of stuff. I have made a conclusion that actually you don't need any kind of exercise as a human or as a living being. And that's what the birds and animals teach you. If your food habits are, the food is the most important, because what you see physically yourself made of food. Now let me ask you a question. What is required to be alive? What are those three things that you need as a living being to be alive?
Maybe food,
Absolutely correct. One.
then healthy body.
So when you eat food, you have a healthy body. But what you need to live, alive, if you don't take that, you will be dead. What is that? If you don't take that, you are dead.
I would say food.
Food is one. There are two more. Very important.
You can tell me, sir.
What happens when you are dead? What happens? Your breathing stops.
Yeah,
So that means there is no air going.
exactly.
That means you need air,
Yeah,
which is oxygen. Basically, in the air, we get oxygen. So oxygen is required. And one more thing, if you think now, you will get it. If you don't take that, you are dead. Air and food, of course, there are two.
yeah.
Okay. So one more is water. Right?
Yeah.
Now, if you give the priority, what priority will give? Which is the topmost priority and which is the lowest priority to be alive?
Water.
Water. Okay. First water, then
First water, then air, then food.
Okay. So according to you, that's what the priority is, right?
Yes, sir.
Many people give food as the top priority,
Yeah.
water as the second priority, and third as the air priority. Food because we like food. We love humans and animals.
Yeah.
We love food. We like to eat. We like to eat and speak both. Mouth is, I will come to that. The organ is the most dangerous organ for eating and speaking. But according to, logically, the priority is first is air, because can you live for a few seconds if you don't breathe?
Not possible.
Not possible. So few seconds, you are gone. That's air. Water. Maybe you can survive for 1 day, maybe 2 days without water. Of course, we have not tried, but we have heard about many people. Right? We read stories.
Yeah.
So water.
Yes, sir.
If you drink water for a few days, you are gone. And third is food. Food, you can still survive more because the body is accumulated food already there, some energy is there. So even if you don't eat food, you can still survive for maybe a week or two. So the priority should be air, water, food. What is our priority? Food, water, air, lowest. So that's why in yoga, air is very important. Water is very important. So I was talking about how to be healthy. You don't need any yoga, any exercises if your lifestyle is active, and if you take your food of good quality in time, in right quantity, and properly, means eating properly. Food, that is about food. If you drink water regularly, because if you will be surprised, but our body is made of water. 70% of our body is water, by the way. Out of those panchatattvas, water is the most strongest, and 70% is water. So we need water regularly. Yes, except that it is advised that you don't drink water just before half an hour before you take food and after you take food. And there is a reason for it, because when you eat food, there are a lot of processes going on into your body. The digestion system starts when you eat. Even a small particle of sugar, if you eat, you put it under the tongue, the mind gives an order to the system, digestive systems. Hey, something is coming inside, get ready to digest it. You know, a small thing. That's why many people they give you advice, don't eat anything in between. Only eat breakfast, lunch and dinner, nothing in between. Because the moment you open your mouth and put something in your mouth, your digestive system starts. Because it's not intelligent. It just senses that there is something coming from your tongue and it automatically starts to get ready to digest it. So and it takes energy to start and then work. So therefore, it is advised not to take any food in between these three: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So food is very important, very, very important. What you eat, how much you eat, when you eat, how you eat. Water, second. Third is sleep, the most important, and many people ignore. Most of us in India, why India? The entire globe is ignoring that, especially with all these gadgets, mobiles and WhatsApp and television and Netflix and Amazon Prime and whatnot. You have huge amount of entertainment available 24/7. In fact, 24 hours people say that are now less for them for entertainment. They want more. There's no way you can change number of hours in a day. 24 hours will remain 24 hours. Only you'll have to manage your time. But the point is that so many things are available in that 24 hours that people don't have time to do exercise and think about what they are doing, analyzing where they are going wrong, So
sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt. We have another 5 minutes time, sir.
Yeah, sure.
We have another 5 minutes, sir.
Sure. So we have sleep, which is very, very important, and many people fail to understand that. Food they understand, but they are unable to control because of the desires and attractions. Water they understand, but there are conflicts. Some people think they should drink water. Some say you should not drink. Sleep, everyone says that you should have a good sleep. And depending on age, the sleep varies. Depending on your weight of the body and what you eat and what you think and how much your mind is exhausted and body is exhausted, that much sleep you require. But sleep, why it is important? Because next day you have to get ready for your all organs inside, outside should get ready to perform. If you don't get sleep, your body and your mind is not ready for the next day. And you can feel that next day. If you don't get complete sleep, you feel sleepy because your body and mind doesn't permit. So sleep is very important. So if you food, water, sleep, and active lifestyle, you don't need yoga, you don't need going to any gym, you are fit. And the moment your body is fit, your mind is fit, because healthy body hosts healthy mind. They are connected, So yoga is a tool basically which helps you purify your body and mind and give you a strength to get into the happiness mode. Actually, we are all divine. We know that we are actually happy inside. It's just there are layers which are covered on that happiness. Our divine, we are all divine nature, and yoga help you remove those covers and make you more happy and give you a strength to manage it's impossible that you have only happiness in life. That is, no one in the world, all living beings is happy all the time. There are challenges, but how to manage that challenges and how to be happy even in those challenges is what yoga gives you. So yoga gives you good body, yoga gives you a power of discrimination to understand what is right and what is wrong. And yoga is not just for that 1 hour or 2 hours. The general perception is that yoga is asana or yoga is pranayama. No, these are 8 steps you have to follow. First 5 steps are important. After that, last 3 steps, you go automatically in last 3 steps. If you are doing meditation, learning meditation, it's useless. That's not meditation. Meditation is the 5th, 6th and 7th step of yoga, and that comes automatically. If you do this first 5 steps religiously, sincerely, regularly, yama, niyama, asana and pranayama, breathing exercises, after doing all these 4, you automatically get into pratyahara. Pratyahara is withdrawing yourself from the worldly attachments. You understand what is important. You understand you should not speak more, you should not listen more, you should not get into unnecessary gossips. You should not criticize anybody, you should not expect anything from anyone. You should not, criticize. You should not judge people. These are the simple things that is what power of discrimination you get by, practicing yoga regularly. Your body becomes light, your mind becomes light, you are always happy. But the only requirement is you have to learn and practice it regularly. That is the only requirement of yoga. And along with that, it's not just, it's an integrated science, it's a holistic science. Just by doing yoga is not good enough. What I told you just now about the food, about the sleep, about the water, that is what all that supplement your yoga practice and you become a complete human. You become a good human being. And that's what yoga is for, to make you a good human. We know what's happening in the world these days. People are so selfish, they are so self-centered, they don't work for anybody else. They only think about themselves. So you become selfless, you stop judging people, you stop criticizing people, you stop complaining about people or anything else, you stop expecting anything. And therefore your mind is quiet, you are silent, and you enjoy life, And there are people in everywhere all around us who are practicing yoga regularly. I'm sure they must be getting these benefits, because this is what yoga brings you for on the table. And when you are happy, your family is happy. Your friends are happy, everything is happy, and you enjoy life. That's what is all about yoga.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for spending your valuable time, sharing your
My pleasure.
experiences and knowledge. May God bless you with prosperous and peaceful life, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Suresh. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity, and I wish you the same.
Thank you, sir.
And you have a good day. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Right. Bye-bye.